Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for this very exciting video. I have been dying to get to this video. I'm going to be working on this kit here that my cousin sent to me for my birthday. I'm not familiar with this brand at all. I'm not even quite sure what the name of it is. I think this is from Rowood, I believe is the brand name. I could be wrong though. And it's to make this like Sakura flower kit thing. From my understanding, it's like a very thin wood, almost like a cardboard wood thing. And it's to make, you can see here the picture, this flower tree thing of a sakura, which is my favorite flower slash tree. And sakura is just the Japanese cherry blossom tree, and it's my absolute favorite. And my cousin, knowing this, decided to send me this kit for my birthday, and today I'm finally going to be working on it and testing it out to see how it is. Right off the bat, the packaging is really pretty, and you can see here that inside this little envelope comes pretty much everything for the kit, well, everything of the kit. It's all like wrapped together, this plastic. And honestly, from just opening this, I was very overwhelmed already. And getting it out of the packaging, this is everything that the kit includes. I was very overwhelmed looking at everything and slightly confused, especially with what I'm guessing was a square sandpaper, but we really didn't end up using it for the kit, so I don't know what it was for. But as you can see here with the instructions that were included, it's basically one page that's like very long with like the instructions, but they're all pretty much just images. There aren't really any words explaining anything. It's all just like a diagram, and it's double-sided for everything. And honestly, I was very intimidated just looking at all of this. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, but once I actually sat down and started working on it, it was a lot easier than what it seems right off the bat. And it actually includes like QR codes to scan for videos to like help you with instructions. I personally didn't end up using them, mostly because I was being stubborn and just wanted to figure it out. But basically, as you can see here in these squares, everything's already like pre-cut for you. You just kind of have to punch them out of this frame. I was being very delicate and treating it very fragilely, especially in the beginning. I was terrified of breaking it. But you just follow the steps, and each of the pieces are labeled, and it'll even tell you if there are extra pieces, because this kit does include some extra pieces. So each piece would have like a letter and a number, and then if it had a plus symbol, that means it has extra pieces. And then you would just follow the diagrams to putting them together. For this specific kit, a lot of it was just these petals, assembling them. I believe you had to do like 26 or 28 of them in total, which I quickly got to work on. I personally thought it would be easier and fastest to punch out all the petals and the little branches first and then assemble them instead of doing it one by one, so that's what I did. And I have to say, once I got over like my initial fear with breaking these pieces, I found it very satisfying punching them out of the frame. I'm still not 1000% sure what this material is. It feels like wood, just a very thin type of wood. It almost feels like the thickness and strength of like cardboard, but it is definitely wood. Honestly, assembling these petals felt like it was taking forever, but for this whole kit, I believe I spent 2 hours. I did it all in one sitting, just for 2 hours. I sat down and worked on it and finished it. And honestly, I was pretty confused a lot, which you can probably see with how much back and forth I was doing. I didn't gather or like realize until later on that the three frames, the pink one, the green one, and like the beige one, all had corresponding letters to them. So like all the pink ones were A's, the greens were B's, and the beige ones were C's. So I kept going back and forth looking through the frames to find some of the pieces. But as you can see, this kit is pretty much the same process, just with different pieces. Just gathering the pieces that it tells you to and putting them together. For the most part, they were all just like sliding them into place. Some with like the petals and the branches, there was like on the bottom part or the back part, like something you clipped together. But there was no glue or like tape for most of this. At the end, there's some extra decorative pieces you can choose to like tape on to the flower pot itself, with the tape that was included, which was really nice. These pieces honestly weren't as fragile as I initially thought they were. I did break one of the pieces. Um, Luckily, it was one of the ones that had an extra piece, and it wasn't really like a full break. It was more of like scratching a little corner of it off, mostly like the painted part. It was one of the green branches. But I will say my biggest struggle with this kit, and I'm not 100% sure why it did this, a lot of the petals keep falling off, especially when you're handling it. Again, none of this takes like glue or tape or anything. You just like slide the pieces in together, kind of as if it was like a 3D puzzle. So sometimes if like the connections weren't tight enough, it would loosen it and it would fall, which obviously is a pretty easy fix if you add like a little bit of glue. I didn't add any glue. I kind of just resolved myself to keep putting the pieces together. But if it really does become a problem, I'm sure you could just easily add some glue and stick it on. Once the actual petals were done and united, you just added them to the branches and built them into pretty much just one tall piece, and then you switched over to making the base for the flower pots, which I didn't struggle with pretty much at all. It felt really easy. But after you build like the actual base, which felt very sturdy, which I was really grateful for because I'm very known to be knocking things over, but this base is very sturdy. Um, then it had this little like cardboard piece that you fold and wrap around it. I struggled a lot getting this cardboard piece wrapped around the base. Um, I'm not going to show the whole process of that because took forever, honestly. And it was honestly just me not seeing the pieces and the spaces correctly. But eventually I did get it on. And then from there, it's just a few little extra decorative pieces that you could choose which ones to add. I didn't add all of them because I felt like it would be too much, and the instructions tells you to only pick one. It also includes these extra pieces to make like a taller branch to like put in an actual vase if you don't want to use this base, which I did end up building, but I just built it to have because I did end up putting it just on the base that the kit comes with. Here are all like the leftovers. Most of them are like the decorative pieces I didn't use and the few extras that again I didn't end up using. Honestly, this kit was a little frustrating at times, especially when I kept messing things up, like putting the cardboard around the base. But overall, it was really fun and pretty relaxing at some points, especially punching out the pieces from the frames. And although it was a little repetitive making the petals, I personally found it very relaxing. And I think it turned out really cute. I love Sakura trees and flowers so much. As you can see here, the pieces do sometimes fall off, but I'm still really happy with how it turned out. I have to say a big thank you to my cousin for sending me this kit. I absolutely loved how it turned out and loved working on it. It was a lot of fun for me and at times very relaxing. I think it turned out really cute and pretty. I already added it to my shelf as decoration in my room. And honestly, it looks pretty much exactly like it does in the photo for the kits, so that's nice. But thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed. Bye!